needing to impact them directly. It was Weiwei who got in there fast and was always around to start the snowball off. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's go into game 2 here. Is V5, it's the banning of junglers with a Rek'Sai, interestingly enough, going to be the final one.
I told you, if you look at Xiaopeng's solo queue, he's spamming Nidalee and Rek'Sai. That's pretty much it. We have a ton of things open, so the Syndra taken away by DMO. The Kalista's still up. The Graves is still up. The Trundle, once again, not banned. So it's Victory 5. Why not just go back towards what works and pick up this Kalista? The thing I wonder on the side of DMO, though, is can Helper play the Syndra? Is this a potential flex pick, or is this something Twila's just going to bring out?
We really didn't see it last split at all, did we? We only saw a couple of times where, I believe it was on the side of V5, where it was flexed to the bottom side a couple of times, funnily enough. You wanted to see a jungle in this rotation, though, so before we start talking about flexes, let's see what the option is for V5 now on red side, and they will do what DMO failed to do in Game 1.
So historically for Weiwei, I've known him as a Karthus player, a Jarvan player, a Gragas player, and a Trundle player. So great to see him going towards that Trundle pick. And to me, this is one of the strongest red side first rotations you can get. But this opens up a lot of champions for Xiaopeng, right? They just hover over the Kindred, does okay into the Trundle, as well as the Graves, of course, being a fine matchup. I'd say it's pretty even on both sides. So if you're DMO, I would just match jungle with jungle.
Okay, well, they don't want to do that. They're saying, hey, let's pick up the Renekton early here. We have the possibility of both solo lanes. While Mole's Zoe went through unscathed, he's picked it up yet again.
So Mole feeling great if it is Zoe against Syndra. Zoe just going to do her best to just clear out those waves. If she can land a Sleepy Treble Bubble, you can look for more, but that's about it. But still, I like what Victory 5 are putting together so far. Get SamD back on that Kalista. We have strong front-to-back team fighting coming out, but this time DMO are the ones going for saying, hey, we're all inning on the early game with this Renekton and Syndra.
I do like that they're saying, hey, we don't want any champion that can disrupt that. Blitzcrank immediately taken away, while V5 have 2 bans here in a row. Okay.
So just banning out bot laners, pretty standard. I expect Victory 5 on their next pick. Actually, DMO have showed both support and top, so it actually doesn't matter too much what you go for. You can go for a flex if you want and pick up something like the set, which maybe you wouldn't want against the Renekton, because of course Renekton does well in lane, but still has quite a fine time just getting into the team fights later in the game, just finding the Thresh as well.
Love throwing him in. If you do pick up the cat, though, you get the option of a weird throw-in,
Have you seen Kalista, Yumi? Like, that's not a bot lane I expect to see happen, but still, the Bard coming out from ppgod is quite interesting.
All right, literally a god, right? Because that's what Bard is. Is he not? Bard's a god, isn't he?
I'm not sure.
Is he up there with like Aurelion Sol and Nivea and Ornn?
I don't think so.
The god of music?
The fact that he's a Bard, just it doesn't seem very godly.
The guy that dances with no pants is what feels like from... Anyway, we'll move on. On the side of DMO, let's see what gets picked up on the bottom side, because you're talking about the flex of Syndra, no more. It's going to be the misfortune for Helper.
Just kind of looking through Helper's career again, really likes the Kalista, really likes Varus, was never much of an Ezreal or a Misfortune player, the 2 champions they hovered, so going towards the Misfortune makes more sense to me. You've picked up the Renekton, you picked up the Syndra. I like the Elise as well, just all in on early game, say, hey, Victory 5 only beat us because they were able to snowball. We're going to counteract
We've
that.
completely switched up conditions, it feels like. Yeah, DMO want the more proactive setup here, and Renekton, at least we've seen many times in the LPL, has been successful and is a much easier setup. But how do V5 respond?
If they do want to go with the Wukong, I think that's a very good pick. You're not really going to pick anything that's going to abuse the Renekton in lane. You could pick things that kind of go 50-50 like the Jace or Kennen, but that's not the style of player that Biubiu is. So I like this, rounding out with a strong team fight comp, has some utility options in there with the Bard, and for the side of DMO, they're just saying we want blood from the first minute of this game.
It does feel like the Bard is a really crucial setup in this comp, though, right?
I think it's actually pretty strange, honestly, picking Bard into the Thresh, where, you know, if Thresh does land that death sentence, Bard's a very squishy champion, very easy to kill, and Bard Kalista just isn't really the strong 2v2 lane that you think of. Bard's not a strong lane champion.
We've only seen ppgod on the side of FPX plays, right, in the LDL. We haven't seen him in the LPL yet, so could be towards comfort, right, that we see this Bard pick up instead of something like the set that could have fit better into this composition. But moving forward, V5 are on match point. And all I want to talk about here, Lyric, is how they do it here with this composition, because on the verge of a series win to start off the split, that would be the V5 that starts turning heads.
Yeah, if Victory 5 pick up a 2-0 on their first match, that's honestly, that blows my mind. That's not something, if you told me in spring, I would have seen coming, but again, putting together a very interesting comp that doesn't really go together quite well, but still has a pretty strong team fight. It has a lot of self-expression in it. We see the Bard, we see the Wukong, we got Mole Zoe, so I like that about it.
Self-expression versus a much faster composition from DMO. We're going to talk about the fact that, you know, Game 1 was very much about laning back and absorbing all the experience and gold. Game 2 is very much about getting that ball rolling and doing what V5 did to them in Game 1.
I also like that this draft is about Natural and Xiaopeng. They said, hey, we dropped the ball in Game 1. We messed up early on. We can do better this time around. Let's snowball this game through the carry of our team.
And let's see this one go the distance here for DMO. Starting off a win for them is just as important as it is for V5 as Astrobard. Yes.
I've never seen that skin.
It has literally come out in the past week or two.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm sure the TFT people will be very happy about that. But welcome back onto the Rift, folks. You have the Infernal to start. You have the fire in the hearts of the players, but no Gyos just yet. We'll get that to you soon. As onto the Rift with another Bard. And I know the guys yesterday, Munchables and Dagda, were saying this, that Bard has become very common. It's moved from like the pocket pick to very much fast meta.
I mean, very common, I feel like, is a bit of a stretch, right? We could say very common in solo queue, but Bard's been common in solo queue for the past few months.
He's been more common.
Yes, I mean, there we go. We can move a step up the ladder, but blind picking Bard is quite rough because, again, you're not a very strong champion in lane. He doesn't pair too well.
You're going to see a 2 versus 1 here, but Weiwei hasn't started anything yet. Biubiu just gets the trade while Natural has to back away, but he's at half health at 128. So that's decent enough here from V5, who are starting with the invade.
Ooh, I like this. They're actually splitting the map. And again, we already said DMO want to play around this Renekton, but...
Is this too ambitious, though? Because for V5, they had the ability to get sandwiched here. Trouble Bubble started by Mole.
Here.
And Mitsuki, you're right, is here with the Flay available onto Mole. The trading continuing here as Blue Buff is stolen away. A W start by Twila. Blue Buff will reset, but it gets smited away by Xiaopeng. That's a big win for DMO.
I mean... Is it? You just committed Mitsuki to the top side, so V5 were able to get all this free pressure bot. If they can get this kill...
Okay, then I will be right. Let's find out. Flash away from Biubiu. The Natural doesn't need to use his own. Xiaopeng, consistent to the top side, now going for Krugs, so maybe a bit more?
No, so this ends up being a massive win, right? You're losing out in the top side. Weiwei gonna fall behind. Xiaopeng maybe can find a kill, but actually Weiwei's being so safe. I like it.
But
heads over to the other side of the map, gives up his top side jungle.
Apologize for interrupting. I was going to say, I like the sneakiness, right? Seeing Biubiu go past and then starting Krugs, right? With Natural having the shove with an early level lead in the jungle for DMO.
Yeah, so team's going to find advantages in different places. Look at the CS. We do see that Sam D was able to get an advantage in the bot lane. I expect a lot of that wave is probably crashing now, so Helper won't be too far behind, but Natural going to be able to get ahead and top, and Xiaopeng now set up for a free dive with this combo.
Wave is coming in, but blocking it first. Teleport used. That's going to be Mole coming in as well. Just to save the day here by the level 3 Zoe.
I like how Mole's like, hey man, I just save you, so some of this CS is mine, some of this EXP is mine.
Unsealed Spellbook. He's like, it's alright. I'm going to replace it with something soon anyway.
Phase Rush Trundle.
That's true. We saw it a lot in MSC.
Yeah, we did.
I love the LCK jungles. Natural. Is he in a pickle here? He's 1 versus 3, but no one's there yet. Biubiu needs one more auto. He flashes on top of the turret, gets first blood, and then trades his life while Mole roams up yet again. A 1-for-1.
Still, we see this constantly in these games where we have a lot of weird wave situations coming out where Mole's been gone for so long. I expect Biubiu to TP mid. Okay, I thought that was Biubiu's TP for a second. I was like, wait, what's going on? So, luckily, all waves are going to get picked up for Victory 5 this time around, unlike in Game 1.
Not losing experience here, sharing a bit of the gold as well. But now 2 summoners burn here by Biubiu, both I should say. Molt still has his flash, but he uses teleport in the earlier trade. So been a pretty proactive game number 2. At least here in the early game, 4 minutes in. And you've got Xiaopeng, who's returned to his own jungle after that, after securing Scuttlecraft.
But Weiwei is 2 levels behind.
That's true.
If you're Xiaopeng right now, I think you just head to the bot side Scuttlecraft, check if it's there. And you know, if Weiwei's on it, you just look for that duel, but seems like he either thinks that Weiwei had already done it or is just afraid of the lack of pressure coming out from his bot side.
And also he's just been spotted out by Weiwei on that ward. You can see towards the red side as Biubiu is actually coming back towards the top side. Mole stuck around to push out this wave. We're getting back to standardized lanes here. Is the wave state also pretty good in the mid lane here, the side of V5?
just makes sense, right? You just didn't want to back too early or move too early to where you would let your teammates' lane be put in an awkward position.
Well, Mitsuki with the flash, though, forces one out of ppgod. Well managed here as a Cocoon is a little bit short. The bottom lane of V5 backs away.
It was way too telegraphed, honestly, coming out from Mitsuki. I like the proactivity of making the play, but seemed like ppgod could see it from a mile away.
Look at the shrines for the Astro Bard. I haven't actually seen this skin either. I just know what it looks like. And this is the pink chroma, too.
I like it a lot. It's actually very aesthetically pleasing.
I would say it's gorgeous as well.
I was a big fan of Bard, which I know a lot of people weren't actually for some reason. A lot of people preferred the Snow Bard, but this one might be my new favorite.
Snow Bard is nice, and it feels like he's got a puffier chest as well, you know? Plus, that's the one with tea, isn't it? With hot cocoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the best part of it, man. Drinking hot cocoa on the roof feels pretty good. Feels pretty good to be Bard in this bottom lane right now with the earlier lead that Sam D picked up. You can see there's a CS advantage for your AD carry. And Helper had the chance to go back, pick up a long sword, but is still getting out-traded massively here. Really nice from Sam D.
Just showing up in the LPL so far, of course, we got to remember that advantage he did get from level 1. Moving over to the top side, it sucks that we saw Natural building up such a massive wave, but not able to take advantage of it from the fact that, 1, Xiaopeng wasn't there, and 2, Mole had pressure in the mid lane, so he was constantly hovering up.
We'll see, because he has Dominus. Good pillar, but it just knocks him up in the same spot. Weiwei flashes away. Has himself the phase rush to get back on in here, but now Natural has to 1 versus 3 with Dominus running on out. Great trouble bubble from Mole, as Biubiu just going to sit there and says, I'm not 6, but I do have my boys nearby. Dominus doing its full capacity, though, as Natural has enough to heal in the middle of 3. They all walk on in, and the cavalry has arrived yet again. DMO will pick up their second kill, as Unleashed Power can't kill Mole, but the repel down onto ppgod means he has to back away. And Lyric, you seem a bit tilted after that one. What happened?
My eyes, but actually, it makes sense that Victory 5 weren't going in at first, right? Weiwei's only level 4. He cannot walk up to that Renekton. Mole kind of whipped his very first Q that we saw right when we got there. He didn't throw it deep enough, and then missing the second Q is what was massive. And DMO have done such a great job of abusing Weiwei ever since Victory 5 initiated that level 1 invade.
Yeah. That constant level disadvantage. Plus, you got the kill on the Elise as well, Riders. ppgod roamed all the way up, but he's now back home in the bottom lane. Level 4 Bard here, while Mitsuki and Helper have priority in this lane, and that Death Sentence gets the maximum rage outside of the magical journey. It was close, but he will get away thanks to his portal.
Played it as well as he could have, but still ppgod able to get away, and Helper and Mitsuki are finally starting to catch a bit back up in that CS department. And here we see Natural going in, knowing Weiwei's low. They're just constantly looking to set him behind. So good call come out from DMO. There's the Q we talked about that Mole missed, which was so critical. Weiwei can't walk up here. He's not making a mistake. It would be way too dangerous. Biubiu trying to get some damage down. And this second Q missing is just so critical. That would have been the kill for V5. The rest of the members of DMO coming to finalize that kill.
As the Fate's Call going to be used in the bottom lane. We're back to action. Seems Mitsuki against the walls. The bullet time will get everyone, though. But Helper, unfortunately, doesn't have enough damage at this point. Mole coming down to help as well. But another kill goes over to the side of V5. And that bottom lane, again, has an early advantage.
Bottom lane finds an early advantage, but look at Mole CS and look at everything Twila's getting in the mid lane. So you're trading advantages, right? Sure, you found a kill in the bot lane, but Twila able to get ahead. We see Twila went for this really lane-dominant build with the double Doran, so on his next back, maybe going to be able to complete his first item and just start blowing people up with that ultimate.
Okay, well, I'm looking towards a Syndra that can have a good time then. You've got yourselves with that 20 CS advantage. Also, the Amplifying Tome ready to build on that. But no, ppgod's here in the mid lane. Trouble Bubble landing, but thank you, Dark Passage. Mitsuki, a good friend. Oh no, we're doing this again, aren't we? Okay, Culver Meek, just back away.
26 CS advantage for Natural. Huge, big item discrepancy coming out as well. So just going to constantly abuse Biubiu, and this game's already looking so much better from DMO.
I love the fact that for DMO, it's not about challenging around these objectives, it's challenging through the lane itself, right? That's what this early game has been all about. They are turning their attention now to the Rift Herald, which is in vision, but V5 have no real look towards it.
I like this call coming out from DMO as well to just keep Helper in the bot lane, not putting too many resources up for this objective. And funny to think that both of these games were kind of dictated by the other team misplaying. Victory 5 trying to go for that level 1 invade, not necessarily misplay, but DMO committing Mitsuki up to the top side, dissuading that from happening, and just bullying Weiwei out of the game from there. And this game's pretty much looked like a 5v4 ever since. And game 1 was the same way for Victory 5.
One where Biubiu is just so sick of being in this situation, right? We've got 3 turret plates left with a Rift Herald in hand. This could be a really, really early first turret blood.
But Biubiu was very accustomed to being in this situation in spring, so I'm sure he doesn't feel too bad. Victory 5 still going to get something on the opposite side of the map. Roles have also reversed the first game, where DMO are the ones who need this advantage. They need to keep dictating the pace, get to a 4, 5, 6K gold lead. I'm just going to commit to 5K. That's a good number.
Okay.
Look to snowball the game from there, while Victory 5 try to find time to get some more damage under the belt.
We got numbers again. Riftwell's going to get a second charge towards this in the turret on the top side. Biubiu sticking around though. Cyclone going to be used on the minion wave to clear it out. Xiaopeng actually getting pretty low as he repels up into the second Cyclone here. A pretty good job of saving the turret as he flashes away. Natural's a big croc.
That was a good flash because Natural does have flash up himself.
Tempted Fate not going to land though, flashing away, but Mitsuki still gets caught here by the Cosmic Binding. Let's go. Helper, 1 versus 3. The Fate's call predicted nicely there by Sam D and ppgod, who picks up the kill in the end. Natural does flash forward though, and remember, big alligator / crocodile. I'm not sure on that one just yet. He'll survive while Twila in the top side is creating more action in this game.
Oh, God. Poor Biubiu. He just can't catch a break. Team's making plays on the bot side. DMO's reacting, but still not able to pick up any CS. Victory 5 able to pick up a kill and get some gold onto Sam D, but another turret going down for DMO.
In a turret this early in the game. Biubiu still up here. Level 7 versus level 9 on Natural. He's sick of it. Look at the CS discrepancy between either of the solo lanes on DMO. And it's only going to get worse. You've got a Black Cleaver for Natural. You surely will have that first item, which seems to be the hose coming out from Twila very, very soon. It's going to be a while before we hear from Biubiu again.
The good thing is you are a Wukong, so as long as you provide that utility coming out from your ultimate in the right fight where, you know, Mole can hit some max range Q, you can still blow someone up, but just look at all the burst coming out from DMO. It doesn't matter if you've drafted this kind of more early-centric comp when, again, at any point, if you hit a Scatter of the Week or a Cocoon, with Misfortune, Syndra, or Renekton there, anyone's dead in 1 second. We
know Wukong's passive. You don't get MR. You get armor. So.
Yep.
That duo between mid and jungle is going to be pretty painful to deal with. I just note as well that we've been talking about the top side item builds. We've got our first item from Natural, first laner's item, I should say. Helper has a BF sword and a Caulfield's Warhammer, so he's almost towards his first item as well. Blade of the Ruin King almost picked up by Sam D2.
Also, this is a good time to remind people that here in LPL, we were never a big fan of the Blade of the Ruin Renekton's. Can't exactly tell you why top laners weren't a fan of it here to where everywhere else in the world, everyone's doing it.
We were no Blade of the Ruin King Renekton's, also no Blade of the Ruin King sets. Like, there was a couple.
We had some of those.
But some, right?
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like every game like every other region
or even
was,
like
but
the Triforce sets did not come out much either.
Teams here never did Blade of the Ruin King Renekton. They just didn't like it. Didn't matter if it gave you stronger laning phase and even helped your scaling a lot. Team just gravitating more towards the tankiness you get from Black Cleaver.
We're very much like an enclosed environment, right? If one team does one thing, everyone else follows. There's not many, I wouldn't say innovators, but there's not anyone who steps outside the bubble.
Is this true? Because look at IG.
Yeah,
IG does whatever IG wants, and no one follows IG.
That's true, but sometimes I think teams know they should never follow IG.
I mean, not
Doran's Blade on from the Shy was something that probably would never be seen again.
I like what we're seeing here out of DMO. Just Natural pushing, moving over to the mid lane, putting pressure across the map. So you're pretty much constantly having this 5v4 on the bottom half of the map.
Sandy, I think he stepped out of line here. The bullet time and Cocoon won't land, but with the teleport coming through, maybe he's saved. Dark Passage as well, as it was only Biubiu with the rest of the team roaming down. Respect paid by DMO.
It's a win for DMO, right? You had Natural push and move down. Of course, he didn't have TP if he would have needed it regardless, but still, now you just send Natural back up to the top lane, push out once again, Biubiu has to go answer, you make the same play, and what could V5 do to respond?
Sure. Well, they will get the turret though. At the very least, V5 closing back in on some of that gold, but no, DMO is still ahead by 2K. It is still their game to take by the reins. We've got 45 seconds until that mountain And Lyric, you're about to tell me whether we're going to see a fight around this next objective or if DMO are just too threatening at this point.
We will definitely see a fight around this next objective. This game is between Dominus Esports and Victory 5.
That it is.
So we're going to see a fight, and
that's great analysis.
There doesn't need to be much more analysis of that, but Victory 5's champions right now, you know, Mole not at his strongest point. He wants to get his first item as well, only sitting on that lost chapter. Sam D did finally pick up that Blade of the Rune King, so he's going to be coming into power himself, but of course, Victory 5 should wait for those first items to come out before they opt into taking this fight. They already have First Dragon. They don't need to fear DMO going towards Soul at any point. They should opt out, but I do expect them to go for it.
Okay. Put the clock out of the conversation for now. 15 minutes in, there's the Dragon. DMO are going to be in position first, but note that Biubiu's in the bottom lane without summoners, but with ulti.
I've been proven wrong.
Hey.
Victory 5 are not going to go for this Dragon. Hey. Victory 5 are going to make the right decision and just look to farm up. Exactly.
This is not the V5 we remember. Because again, it's not really the V5 we remember. Mole, the only remaining member in this roster, just as a side note. It is good to see control in the LPL every once in a while. And Xiaopeng picks this up. You ready to roll the dice? Nice. Hey, okay. Cloud.
Right
again.
Decision coming out, and even Biubiu backing off from that bot lane turret, knowing that DMO have the ability to dive him, moving towards the mid lane can be a bit greedy if he doesn't go back to hovering bot, because DMO might just be able to go force 2 turrets. But with Victory 5 being the ones to pick up the Rift Herald, there's always that threat of Weiwei moving mid and dropping Herald.
They're hitting it pretty fast as well. Help are going to finally trade across the board, keep that 2k margin up and available, as Herald goes over the side of V5. Ooh. What is happening with that back? That's great. Had some pretty cool skins recently, I'll say, Lyric. The Astro Bard's looking sick. The FPX skin, I picked up Kim Goon's skin on the GP. I got to say, that one's pretty crisp.
Oh, God.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do it. As Astro Bard sends a hello from the moon. ppgod delays that. But for now, Scout of the Week, Unleash Power, bullet time, and Sam D flashes away. Weiwei has to back away as well, as V5 eventually do lose that mid turret after everything's thrown out.
Curious if ppgod would even throw out that ultimate like it was worth saving. Was on about 200 HP, and all DMO would have to do is move back to pushing out sides and then rotate mid once to be able to take that. But I guess any instance to just buy more time is good for V5.
And also, you're expecting Cloud Dragons to come through, so you're saying, hey, look, throw it out now, bit of a cooldown, but later on I'm going to do this more and more.
So this is a really great game for Cloud Drakes, right? You have the Bard, you have the Wukong. These are 2 high-impact ultimates that later in the game, if you could find the engagement and just throw them off cooldown, that'll be massive.
Remember in the LPL Spring Finals, I mean, just a throw out to Lumao, who was our Spring Split Finals MVP. Played Bard in Game 5 against Top Esports. As pause because Mole has been caught out. Cole the Meek, it's a Renekton. As Mole will go golden, but Natural, the flash used, and Natural can't find him. And now, here comes ppgod right in the middle of this croc. Biubiu's in, and oh boy, that's got a sting.
I love how Mole, just knowing the movement speed he'll get from using that flash, should be enough to get out, even if he did fail it. Natural, I guess, could have followed his own flash and picked up the kill, but
nothing's landed here, unless it's Scatter the Week onto Biubiu. V5 are a little bit low, but they still want to follow this fight. DMO kiting away. As Twila still walking forward. Mole is the threat here, but Biubiu going on in. Cyclone use #1 here. Unleash Power and Scatter the Weak. Deters them for a little bit, but then they just jump on in. And a big shutdown over to Sam D. Means this Kalista's pretty happy now.
You know, Hysterics, had the Tempered Fate been up there, Victory 5 could have just cleaned house. So earlier decisions being proven wrong, but still Victory 5 finding a kill with DMO trying to be the ones to aggress. Good play coming out from ppgod, honestly, being very aggressive, and Sam D, again, being the beneficiary of that fight.
Herald gets a charge in mid lane, but it didn't take the turret down. Remember, no turret plating. We've moved past that quite a bit. But you can see Sam D yet again. Second game in a row where this guy's kind of shown up quite big. He's 50 CS lead, pretty much, over Helper. And that Zeal's going to turn into something pretty damn soon. As we'll have a look at this again. This is where Mole almost died.
It's just a good play from Natural. Waits for it. He should have the kill guaranteed. Good exhaust coming out from Mole to deny a bit of that damage, and then flashes out, gets the movement speed. Natural doesn't have vision in that bush, so maybe that's why he doesn't feel comfortable just flashing in. And I mean, this is the story of Natural, right? Being over-aggressive. It was a good play, though. I could understand how he'd want to make that.
I mean, he's so far ahead. He's got 60 CS over Biubiu, who didn't get to play this game.
No, he did not. But we are going to get to that point where, again, when we talk about scaling, the thing with Victory 5's composition is they do have this double front line coming out from the Wukong and the Trundle, as well as Bar just gives so much damn utility in the late game with that ultimate.
Yeah.
As compared to DMO, who do still have options, but they're all around pick and burst. Find out one member, use all your abilities, win the numbers advantage, or take the objective from there.
We've seen like Kalista's how they operate in the LPL. With the more frontline, the better, which is a pretty general statement, I know.
I feel like in the LPL, that's just a good general statement. The more tanks you have, the better. Unless the 4 Protect 1 we saw fail quite a bit first split.
Yeah, we
saw Suning do that a lot.
To be fair, we've seen a lot of 1-3-1s fail as well here in the LPL. Not sure they're run properly. Is flashing here from Mitsuki. Big power play. Bullet time. Great as well. The Cyclone's going to come through. We got an all-out brawl, ladies and gentlemen. Natural getting spears in.
Ooh.
And Sam D feeling pretty good yet again. 4 versus 4 left on the Rift as Twila gets exalted with a great scat of the week, but the damage is still too much. Sam D has control of this game, and he's not letting up. 5-0-1 here for the Kalista. V5 win out.
And it started off so aggressive from Mitsuki. We talked about how he loves these playmaking engaged champions.
And speak of the devil, he's caught out. Forward goes Biubiu, who says, finally, it's my time to shine. Sam D forward yet again, and Xiaopeng caught underneath the turret, but he'll live while V5 get a cloud and the fight, as well as the turret.
Sam D's such a pleasant surprise for this Victory 5 roster. No one had any idea who this guy was coming into the split, and just showing up very good in both of these games. Biubiu as well had a rough time this game, right? But in these recent skirmishes, doing quite good on this Wukong, and even ppgod being such an aggressor, it's what we love to see.
And this is not what happened in Game 1, where V5 had an early lead, much like DMO did. They accelerated it forward. DMO have been cornered and slowed down. Gold dead even for the first time in this game at 21 minutes, with the Cloud Dragon going over, with this fight going horribly wrong.
And here we see Mitsuki going in for that aggressive hook. Bullet time coming out.
Nice
They're able
setup.
to exactly. They burst Mold down right away, but Biubiu able to get in there, find the ultimate, and get out is massive, allowing Sam D to dish out all that damage. And then here we see Helper just zoned out, kind of scared of walking forward with Mitsuki in the ultimate. They're able to find that kill on Twila as well.
Man, I mean, this bottom lane of V5 is a pleasant surprise. We've got Mole performing well yet again, and Weiwei's moved his way back into this game. What more can you say than V5 could be going to Worlds this year?
Stop. But you know what the good thing is?
What?
Mole is, what was it, 0-1-2 right now in this game.
Sure.
He is not the carry of this game. Victory 5 has another lane that they can rely on.
There's good Dark Passage here to get DMO out. Now,
even Weiwei, having, once again, got bullied out from his level 1 decision, fair, but once he's come back into this game, just as a team, Victory 5 are playing well, and that sentence in itself feels weird. As a team.
as a team, the team that was not a team.
Yeah,
in
not
spring,
at all.
Right? And now we got Bond, Secret Agent 007 in Weiwei, who's returned in here. And we've got this bottom lane as Sam D and Weiwei are going in yet again. Mitsuki gets rendered as Biubiu is over the wall. A nice little orb thrown down by Twila to zone him away. But V5 again, trading over DMO, who in this series has not felt like the better team. It was a good early game, but V5 hold the cards, and they're in front of Baron.
The caliber of these teams, it just feels like who can ever punish the other's mistake harder is who's going to come out ahead.
Right now, that's V5. Over the wall, they're going to get spotted out by a ward. They're still trying to bait and lure in DMO towards this river. But it looks like for now, they're going to back away, clear the waves, control the vision around this Baron, and fight another day.
And looking at the player cams right now, it's very interesting to see how vocal ppgod's being, because let's remember, he was in the FPX organization. He was the Fun Plus Blaze support. He got to learn under the best support in the world. Chris was the best support last year, and that's so massive for your development. Again, he's constantly talking.
And he's played in the NEST, right? I mean, on the main roster, but not with the main players. So his influence with the organization has been there. Like you said, it's good to see. Again, we've talked a lot about the duo, and I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about them if they can close out this series here. 24 minutes in, it's still not a sealed deal for DMO. We've been talking a lot about V5, but remember, for DMO, they're still hitting some crucial spikes. They've still got the likes of Misfortune, Syndra in this mid-game with that fed Renekton. The next fight could be theirs to take if they can find it.
The good thing is you still have this Renekton with this Tiamat, so just able to instantly clear out this wave. send him over, make some kind of rush play, you know, with control wards. Look for a pick. That's what we need to see out of DMO. We need to see natural move, force out Biubiu's TP, back off, and then try to create a pick. You're not going to win. You shouldn't win these straight up 5v5s. Victory 5 have double front line. They have a lot of CC utility, and Victory 5 should always come out ahead.
If we're talking about picks, I want to look at Mitsuki as well here. Mitsuki has been super aggressive, as we've seen, but the level 9 Thresh has been on the prowl. Going to be clearing out some wards here towards the Baron pit, but look at the direction from V5. Heading out towards here to resecure a vision. And Biubiu in that bottom lane with the teleport available. Natural has moved and is hiding in the gaps of vision.
Yeah, so DMO doing a good job of controlling this Baron, but you would expect that V5, now that they're getting control of bot side again with Biubiu, can just move mid, push out this wave, and then walk in and clear out all of DMO's vision.
Sit mid. We like A-ramming a little bit. You know, just a little bit here.
The good thing for the side of Victory 5 is you don't have to be really afraid of DMO rushing Baron with their composition of Elise or Renekton. And Dragon is the next objective coming up in 30 seconds.
Ooh, but Tempered Fate has come on in, and Biubiu's coming in. That's a great scout of the week. ppgod getting chunked down here by the Elise. The Cyclone onto the backline. The bullet time to kill only the clone. And again, Sam D rushes on 4, but they've already found Xiaopeng. Redemption to heal them back up. And no jungler for DMO means Baron could be wide open.
This Wukong just feels like such an important pick. We've seen it time and time again why this is a champion that typically does get banned out. Doesn't matter if you get low, you provide so much utility in that double ultimate.
Yeah.
And you're always able to get out with a shred of HP, especially from those resistances you get from your passive.
So damn good at zoning, and remember we played this through Spring with the only region to do so, but pause on that because he's now teleporting in. Natural's found Mole, wants to zone him away. He's going to cull the Meek yet again, but Mole's still alive. Trouble Bubble comes through, pokes on down, while Weiwei is low in the back of the pit. Xiaopeng is not alive, so the Havoc Smite as Natural turns on for the 1v1 on Mole. 2k is the Baron. We're going to look at multiple fights here. Smite needs to come through. Biubiu's low as well, but it is secured by the Rend of Kalista. They turn for the fight, and Twila now caught on out in a 1 versus 2 as Sam D has so much damage, but they've gone too far. Weiwei walks into the waiting arms of the now alive Xiaopeng. 1 dead and 1 to go. It seems as they're going to be turning onto Natural. They get the trade in the end and walk away with Baron.
Let's be honest, that was way too confusing, but the gist of it is Victory 5, get the objective like you just said, and that's the most important thing. Now Victory 5 are the ones with the 2k gold lead.
It was confusing. Well said, Lyric.
I honestly didn't see how Mitsuki died the first time. I think he only died once, so I don't know why
I'm not sure. We cast it, but we're not too sure.
Well, I mean, you have Mole fighting off to one side. We're actually looking to see who smites the Baron. You have Twila fighting off 1 or 2 people on the other side. ppgod went down somehow as well.
That's why. Imagine what happened before replays. What did you have to do? Remember? Screw that.
We saw this. We saw Mole doing work on Natural. We move over to the Baron. Biubiu is super low on the edge of the pit. Okay, so Mitsuki dies to Sam D's Rend. Twila takes down ppgod. And then it seems like Weiwei forgot that Xiaopeng died so long ago, he's actually going to be back on the map already. And I wonder how Mole didn't die once he came out of his Zanya's, but we didn't get to see that
Too much to look at, I think, at this point. Just note as well, Helper didn't have his bullet time in that fight. With a big open Baron pit, maybe it could have been a little bit different, but for the side of V5, Baron and the gold lead here as they're pushing through mid. In a turret available that DMO is so carefully protecting. Notice Biubiu is towards the bottom side as well, pushing that wave. So set up in the 4-1, and Mole over the wall himself.
This was DMO's only chance, honestly. They should have just had Natural commit to the mid lane since they know that Biubiu is in bot. Try to get the 5v4, come out ahead, and find a way back into this game. Because you picked the early game composition, you need to roll the dice to win this game.
Now you're at a point where this Kalista almost has 4 items, but she's unkillable with the BT and the support from the rest of V5. Mole going to be poking out here yet again as well. These trouble bubbles are landing everywhere. It's a death sentence to speak of it. Helper going to get pushed on back though. Mole pokes again and Mitsuki goes down. V5 with the numbers advantage. They've got Baron. And my lord, they could be looking at their first series win in 306 days. As Twila goes golden, pulled on back, the unleashed power there. But Sam D is the biggest of right now. The Renekton on top, but he cleanses away, saved by his team. And Victory 5 are exactly that. They will get Sandy as the shutdown, so the game might not be over yet. As Xiaopeng on top of Mole, repels up, is looking for the 1 versus 3. Dodges away from the Paddle Star, which is important. Flashes back in, and DMO are saving this series with great defense. Helper and Xiaopeng say not just yet.
Once again, what a mess going on our screen. V5 are able to push down the mid lane turret, not able to secure the inhibitor. Nope, not able to secure the inhibitor. And kills going both ways. Looks like we're going to wait till the next Dragon or Baron coming up.
This has been a fun series, I will say.
You know, it might be too early to say this,
What?
but let it be known, you do not beat Victory 5 19 times in a row.
That's true. That is very
Let it be
true.
known, 18 is acceptable.
But not 19,
Not 19.
huh? Like I said, 306 day, August 5th of 2019. That's when they last won their series. What's the date today, Lyric? It's the 6th of June. Oh boy.
It's fun because this is where dates stop mattering and days start mattering because we're going to be LPL every day, right?
Yeah, and it'll be the little counter of V5 last win.
So this is where we started. We saw all of this. Finding that kill onto Mitsuki, they try to push in. We see Tempered Fate come out onto Twila. Ooh, does get the hit. Natural jumping in now. You would expect easily to focus him out. Sambi jumping around on the back. Pay attention. His health bar is quite low. Takes 2 turret shots is actually what he goes down to. Quite unfortunate from there. And now V5 just don't have the health bars to finish it out.
They do not. But we're back into live, and Sam D versus Twila with Natural walking up as well. The solo laners want him. But remember, Tempered Fate is available as the Fate score going to be used as well. And they've walked into a trap. The Cyclone is up. And first goes Natural, second goes Twila. The bullet time stopped as that Tempered Fate was as good as Lumau's right there. V5 with low health bars, but Xiaopeng can't finish the job. And Mitsuki left alone as the pillar sends him up. ppgod coming in. Look at his death sentence to try and find the kill. All he needs is an auto with the flay, but he won't get that either. And I think V5 have finally broken their curse.
I'm just going to say ppgod very deserving of his name, being a god right now in this series. And ppgod and Sam D undefeated in the LPL.
The biggest of bottom lanes here in the LPL right now. For V5, 306 days. That's how long it's taken. This feels like World's Final for them. They've finally broken the curse. They've gotten through not winning a single series in LPL 2020 Spring to start off summer with a